Good morning. So today we will talk about one-sided limits graphically. So let's consider this function q of x equals 2x minus 1 whenever x is less than 0 and x plus 1 whenever x is greater than or equal to 0. If we take the limit of q of x as x approaches 0, so we have to take the values of x from the left and from the right of 0. Notice from the graph, yung mga values ng x sa left, okay, nag-a-approach sila sa negative 1. Yung mga values naman of x sa right ng 0, nag-a-approach naman sila sa 1. So the question is, ano ngayon ang limit ng function as x approaches 0? Is it negative 1 or 1? So yun ang gamit ng one-sided limits. This will help us evaluate the limit of such functions tulad nito. Okay, we take for example this function f of x equals square root of x plus 1. Notice na dito sa graph natin, kapag kinuha natin yung values from the left of negative 1, wala tayong maiko-consider kasi wala naman tayong values sa left ng negative 1. However, dun sa right ng negative 1, so those are the x values greater than negative 1, observe that papalapit sila kay 0. Tama? So we say that the limit of f of x as x approaches negative 1 from the right is equal to 0. But from the left, we have no limit, or the limit does not exist. So now we define one-sided limit. So we say that the limit of f of x as x approaches a from the left is equal to L. So this is our notation. There is a negative sign doon sa taas ng a natin. So this means that yung values ng f of x natin lalapit ng lalapit kay L, okay? If we consider the values of x na less than a. Kaya nga to the left of a. Okay? And we also have the limit of f of x as x approaches a from the right is equal to L. So dito naman, we are considering the values of x to the right of a or greater than a. So this is our notation. Let's consider this example. Let's say this is the graph of s of x. Then we want to find the limit of s of x as x approaches 0 from the left and the limit of s of x as x approaches 0 from the right. So from the graph, tignan muna natin yung a. If we take the values of 0 from the left, makikita natin na habang papalapit sila kay 0, yung s of x natin is papalapit kay negative 3. So the limit of s of x as x approaches 0 from the left is negative 3. For letter B, observe that yung values naman natin as x approaches to 0 from the right, makikita natin na papalapit naman siya kay negative 2. Therefore, the limit of s of x as x approaches 0 from the right is equal to negative 2. Another example is, let's say this is the graph of t of x. We want to find the limit of t of x as x approaches negative 2 from the right and the limit of t of x as x approaches negative 2 from the left. So looking at the graph, pag tinignan natin yung values of x as x approaches negative 2 from the right, makikita natin na papalapit siya kay 0. So the limit of t of x as x approaches negative 2 from the right is equal to 0. For letter B, kapag tinignan naman natin yung values ng negative 2 from the left, okay, makikita natin na papalapit siya kay 0. Therefore, the limit of t of x as x approaches negative 2 from the left is also equal to 0. In summary, the limit of f of x as x approaches a from the left is equal to L, and the limit of f of x as x approaches a from the right is also equal to L. So we just have to look at saan nga ba papalapit yung f of x natin kapag kino-consider natin yung values ng x from the left of a or the values of x from the right of a.